This thing takes forever to start up. Hi, everyone. Jax West, Stephen Avery Project, Justice with Jax, MAM Gossip. Sorry, I am 16 minutes late. One of my bosses called me to give me assignment of work he wants me to do. So I probably shouldn't even be on here. I should be doing the work he gave me. But I'm here with y'all. Audrey's first. Hello. Um, what we got here, and see, it's sucky thing with having two jobs is I then have two bosses. So I was on the phone with one boss and now here's another one. Hold on. Okay, I will make an event for it. Do you want the address public? And I can drop the stuff off with you on Friday. Okay. Hello, Krista and Dano and Kimber. And let me scroll and see if there's others here. And Debbie. And Debbie. Debbie and Debbie. And Andrea. So I was actually asked to be a part of an event in Chicago tonight. They wanted me to speak at a protest. And I've got a lot on my plate. And I'm just like, no, forget it. I'm not going to go. But I'm going to feel really guilty that I didn't go and was a part of it. But I figured we'll come live on here. And chat, and whenever, hello Stacy and Katrina, whenever I go to do a live, I always go, all right, first I'll do ask Jax anything. So if you guys have any questions or comments about whatever, we can go over that. And then we'll do at least an hour of Brendan calls, maybe more, don't know. Um, I can discuss right now the girl, the hello snooze, the girl that I just kicked out of gossip today, who was posting. She was posting everywhere. So she posted here in gossip. She posted in Stephen Avery Project. She posted in Justice with Jax. She was private messaging me. Oh, well, welcome V, for first time catching a live. And so she was saying that I have made these rallies all about me. Oh, Karen, remind me about that if I'm blabbing too long on this and forget. Well, here, I'll just say Corey Zipper, somebody who lives in the Manitowoc area. I don't personally know him, but he's no relation to, as far as I know, the Zippers involved in Stephen's case. And hello, Tara. So the girl saying that I have made these rallies all about me. Ooh, Andrea, remind me about that. Then I will tell you about my conversation with the Hallback cousin. And Courtney, what's with the latest gossip? So, I have not made these rallies all about me. I don't know where that even comes from. These rallies are because it's what Courtney and Kim talked about. And I said, well, I can organize it, so they can have this rally. I don't know how it becomes that I've made the rally all about me. I don't know. I knew doing it I was going to get attacked. Same thing goes with the shirts that we just made and put up for sale. I knew by me doing that I would get attacked, and they would bring out the same old crap claiming I stole money, even though I've shown you guys the receipts, the proof that even Barb admits I gave her the money. I knew I was going to get attacked, but guess what? I don't give a shit. I don't care what those people have to say about me. It doesn't get me all upset. I laugh about it. It's stupid. These rallies are for I'm going to get shit for saying this. In my opinion, these rallies, so the one that's going to be at Waupun and then the driving around Oshkosh, are for the supporters more than it is actually for Stephen and Brendan. I mean, I know it's to show our support of Stephen and Brendan, but this is because supporters want to be able to show their support and not have to be involved in any bullshit surrounding it. You know, you don't have to like walk on tiptoes because you think Bobby Dassey is a murderer. And so then you're not allowed to say anything negative about Bobby because he's family. Or, you know what I mean? You don't have to buy this or donate that in this GoFundMe. Hello, Christopher and Tracy. It's just so people can show their support that these two guys are innocent. That's all these are for. And I'm just always going to be one that calls out bullshit no matter where I see it. Hello, Jennifer. So doesn't matter to me. Let's talk about the zipper cousin. So for those that don't know, on the Stephen Avery Project public page, on a post about the Waupun rally, a zipper, see now I'm gonna confuse all the names, a Hallbach commented on there. Now, she said some shitty things. You know, she's angry, and she's got a right to be angry because, her family member is gone. So, I didn't like when she was saying anybody who's on the supporter side is slow just like Avery. So I kind of pushed back on that. But I had said to her a couple of times, I had responded on there that I would love to talk to her privately. Because, we've never heard from a Hallbach. That family is so quiet. We hear nothing. So even though, she's not, one of Teresa's siblings, or and this is a young girl too, so she was what I know somebody had posted on Stephen Avery Project, like this girl was like 5 at the time of the crime, so it's not like she even really knew Teresa, but still it's a family member. I have not reined in any of the supporters' comments to her. She was firing at people and they were firing back, and that's what happens. But I wanted to talk to her. And so I found this fascinating. And I'm hoping I will be able to talk to her some more on this. And I would love to, that I'm going to be up in Wisconsin Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So I would love to get together with her and anybody else from the Hallbach family and talk to them about the case. So here's what she told me. She said that she was dating a guy. Now, and remember, all this stuff is hearsay. And so I'm probably going to get slammed for this later. Like I'm being slammed for saying that someone told me that Dolores was in a home. So I'm just repeating hearsay, I guess. I should put that disclaimer out. So she was dating a guy whose uncle had been Steven's cellmate at the time Making a Murderer, the first one, came out. And she said that Steven thought it was funny that the documentary was so popular. And he said, I bet you people would be really interested to hear that my brother Chuck is the one that killed Teresa. And I only helped in getting rid of her body. And when she had first brought up, a cellmate of Steven said such and such, and I said, I don't believe anything that an inmate says, because they're trying to get a deal for themselves or whatever. And she said, this guy is not a snitch. He didn't tell people this story. He was only telling her, talking to her about the case, that this was not something the guy tried to use for his benefit or go to the press or anything like that. And she was, prior to this conversation, she believed that Steven was innocent. So she does not believe Steven is the killer, but him being part of the cover-up, she says, makes him just as guilty, and he's in prison where he belongs. Now, I know this doesn't go with, our theories. Any way you slice it, none of our theories has Steven being part of covering up the body. But it's what she believes, and she's entitled to her theory. I do not know how much of the case she's actually looked into. But I would love to talk to her some more on that. And then she also said there were 2 different occasions that she went to Avery Salvage with a boyfriend who was getting a car part. And she said that, Teresa, it wasn't her boyfriend that was the cellmate. It was the boyfriend's uncle. And she just stayed in the car. And she said the way Chuck looked at her, it was just very upsetting, and it's not that Chuck knows she's Hallbach or anything like that, just him preying on a female. And I said, well, Chuck's got a long history of sexually harassing female customers, and then he raped his cousin when she was 11. And then Steven has said that Chuck raped his sister Barb. And then it's been reported that Chuck raped his 2 daughters. And then you have what Chuck did to his wife. And then you have what Earl did to his wife. And you have what Earl did by putting a camera in the bathroom to film children getting naked. There's a lot going on there. Now, what you don't ever hear is you don't hear Steven. You don't hear Steven did this and Steven did that. You hear Chuck and Earl, Chuck and Earl, Chuck and Earl, Chuck and Earl. So, well, and right, Tara is saying that would make no sense. He would never do time for Chucky, especially with Jody being around and Chucky all over her. Steven would never do time for a brother he hates. Okay. And this is a discussion Jeff and I had after, when I told him about my conversation with the Hallback girl. Bottom line for Steven is family. So when I used to talk to Steven and visit with Steven, he would tell me all this awful stuff about Carla. But then would say, bottom line, she's family. We've heard him say all this awful stuff about Chuck, yet he'll still defend Chuck. And in her theory, okay, and this is the thing that I was saying to Jeff. Now, I don't believe this. I mean, I could totally believe that Chuck is the killer. That I could believe. Steven being a part of covering it up. I don't think happened, but you go, all right, think about what Brendan has said. And also remember that Steven's IQ is lower than Brendan's. And hello, Sonia and Amy. Remember that Steven's IQ is lower than Brendan's. And remember, we hear Brendan in the calls talking about, well, he was afraid that he's going to be arrested just for knowing what Steven did. So couldn't Steven, now again, this is just her theory. I don't believe this. Don't come at me with this, because this is not me saying I believe this happened and this is what happened. But if Steven had helped get rid of Teresa's body after Chuck killed her, he could believe that he would go down if he said he knew Chuck did it. You know what I mean? But again, I don't believe he had any part of that. Oh, and she says they got rid of her body in Lake Michigan. So that means, too, then, that she doesn't believe any of the bones or any of this stuff at the salvage yard happened. Now, she didn't say that, but if you're saying you believe that they got rid of Teresa's body in Lake Michigan, then what's with the bullet and all, and all the bones and all of that? Yeah, I don't know if he would have thrown Chuck to the wolves, because he does that, he gets mad with the whole Jody thing. But then they get buddy-buddy again. But same way, Steven would tell me, Carla would do this, and Carla stole this money, and he knew Carla stole that money, and he knew Carla did this. But then Carla tells him something about me, and he believes her word without even giving me the opportunity to speak. But I don't believe that. But I could believe Chuck is the killer, because Chuck's got the background. Anybody who's going to rape his own children and rape his 11-year-old niece, strangle his wife, come on now. I know it's far-fetched, Teresa, but there's so many theories on this case. And the only thing I stand by is the only thing I know for sure is that Steven and Brendan are innocent. Right, Brett, it would prove his innocence. Now, when I told Jeff that it was said that her body was put in Lake Michigan, he's like, nope, her body would have washed back up. So he doesn't, he's like, well, unless they had a boat, but he's like, but then even still, it's not like I currently have Jeff watching Dexter, because he had never seen Dexter. So it's not like on Dexter, when Dexter goes to get rid of body parts, it's going to go out to the ocean and could go to a whole nother continent. I know Lake Michigan is huge, though. I don't know. But Tara's asking who drove around on the golf cart with Earl. That was Robert Fabian. And there's Jane answering that. So Robert Fabian is, I really, I should have like a whiteboard behind me. So Robert Fabian, at that time, I don't know if he's currently, he was married to Cindy. Cindy is Candy, then Avery's sister. So Robert Fabian and Earl were brother-in-laws at that time. So then Brendan's friend Travis that we hear on the calls is Robert and Cindy's son. So then that makes Travis cousins with Kayla, Brittany, and Marie. Yeah, I know. It's hard to keep track of it all. So, but yes, Earl and Robert Fabian were driving the golf cart around shooting rabbits on the day Teresa Hallback had shown up at the Avery Salvage Yard. Yeah, Debbie, he's never seen Dexter. So we're on like the 6th season now, so we're almost done. Andrea, that's so interesting about the lake, though. It would make even more sense that the county would give them the bones back, get rid of them so they can't be tested. The lake theory would work if she was dismembered or if she was weighed down by something. Right, Dexter. I don't know about the Twitter feud going on. I'm not on Twitter, Joshua, so you'll have to tell me what the Twitter feud is. The Twitters that I have, so Stephen Avery Project has a Twitter. Friends Who March, my activist group, has a Twitter, and Free Brendan has a Twitter, but they're hooked up to the Facebook pages. So the post that I make on Facebook goes on Twitter. I don't physically go on Twitter unless Kathleen Zellner posts something and I get a notification of. So I know nothing about whatever is happening on Twitter. So you'll have to tell me. Oh, Black Cat named Twitter. Billy Joe says, I don't know if this is important, but since no calls from November 4 have been found, I have a scanner radio app on my phone. If you are a premium member, you can save calls and retrieve past calls. I wonder if KZ can get in touch with the app makers to see if any calls were placed. Interesting. Billy Joe, I've always said we need Andy Colborn's cell phone records for that day that he called in the plates. Why don't we have that? Why wasn't that done? Where was he when he was calling in the plates? That he's calling on his cell phone, his personal cell phone. So we need those records. That's what we need. Yeah, Debbie, we need a family tree. It's very confusing, all of it. So, you do what you want. She hasn't replied in the last day, the Hallbach girl. But I want to hear her out. Aren't you interested to hear what the Hallbachs think, even with her just, being a cousin who didn't really know Teresa? I'm fascinated. So I'm not going to go on the attack. Susan, I think that case is still, the Colborn case is still continuing. But, and with the system, with how long everything takes. Oh, fuck Pam of God. Such a liar. I'm a private investigator. I don't know where the VIN is on a car. A private eye would know where the VIN is on the car. And then she's going to open the door of the car and have to be told several times, don't touch the car, don't touch the evidence. She was a private eye. Shut up. Yeah, Paula, we need Pam of God's cell phone and her daughter's cell phone. Well, okay, because Pam of God called from her daughter's phone. But didn't Ryan Hilgas give her a phone? Wait, or no, he gave her a camera. He gave her a camera and the direct line to the cops, right? Yes, David. Sniffer dogs alerted at the golf cart, and on one of the flyover pictures, the golf cart is parked well away from the salvage yard with a smoking burn barrel next to it. Well, and I haven't looked at that in a while. It's probably something you can Google, but was it Kathleen in one of her filings? It was included in there of where those dogs went. Didn't those dogs go to where these aren't the bones you're looking for at the quarry were found? Didn't they go that way? And they were by Cuss Road and everything? Right, Kat? Yeah. Not a private eye, but know where a VIN is. Yeah, Pam of God is very suspicious. And that's never made sense to me either of, oh, we're having this search party. She gets there late, but she gets assigned the salvage yard, which is one of the possible last places she had been seen. Why would that be saved for the person who comes last. And then why would she and her daughter, two females, be assigned that spot alone? That's not how you do a search party. Curiouser and curiouser. Yeah, they went everywhere but Steven's trailer. There is no way that girl was in Steven's trailer. There's no evidence Brendan's ever been in that trailer. Oh, the bullet laying in his garage. Everything else has dust. But the bullet. The keys can, you know, oh, I'm shaking this thing from the wall and the keys are going to come out and turn a corner and come out this way and land over there. Doesn't happen. And all this stuff on top of that miraculously is still in almost the same exact spots when okay, watch on Making a Murderer when Jody goes home and she's going through the trailer and the trailer has been trashed, that they just threw shit everywhere. You know, pulling paneling off the walls, taking carpeting, taking the pipes from underneath the bathroom sink. I mean, they trashed that place. But on this one bookcase, we're going to put everything all back. Oh, let's put this photo album back in here just so. Mm-mm-mm. It was not Chuck who let Pam of God search the yard. It was Earl. Earl's the one that let her search. Matt, I only talked with the Hallback girl in private messages back and forth. On Saturday. But I would love to, like I said, I'm going to be in Wisconsin Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I'll meet up with her. I'll buy her lunch or dinner. And we can chat about the case. You know, and I said, John Cleveland. Hold on a second. This is a guy calling me from the Tribune. Hello. Hi, how you doing? Yes. Right. I'm sure. No, I'm not. Sure. Um, what I'll say on it is, as you know, I am an activist, and I believe strongly in protecting, those that are marginalized. And with all this Black Lives Matter stuff, I'm somebody Yikes. Sorry. That was a phone call from the Chicago Tribune. Because it's a reporter doing um uh a reporter doing originally he was doing a story on me. Then he wanted to talk about or do a story on the citizens investigators that we had in the Marnier case. And then he found out about Tammy being a murderer. And so he's now investigated Tammy. So this was him calling me because he had heard that I'm no longer with Tammy and he wanted to verify that. Um, and so he says he thinks his article will be out soon. I don't know. Um anyway, more drama. um okay. Did anybody yeah, so sorry about that I had to take that call cuz it's like, "Oh my god, a guy from the Tribune. I got to take that call. What is he calling me for?" Um You have 1 minute remaining. Thank you for calling Evercom. Using Evercom. Oh yeah, if Window Jesus could talk. I do have cardboard cutouts that are right here. um okay. So let me scroll back down to see if there's any new comments. Why are you not with Tammy? Oh. um as I just told the Tribune guy, I am an activist that he knows because he has sent a reporter in, or not a reporter, a photographer for one of my protests in Chicago. And I had a post on my personal Facebook page. I am in support of Black Lives Matter. We're not going to fight about it here. You want to fight me about Black Lives Matter, you can go to my activist page. We're not fighting politics here. And Tammy responded to my Black Lives Matter post with All Lives Matter. Two of my black friends tried to make her understand why that is offensive. And she doubled down, saying white people get killed by cops and blah, blah, blah. And I told her to stop. She's digging her hole deeper. Just stop. So she kicked me out of Justice Review. Because the next thing I know, I got an email notification that I've been removed. So that's what happened with that. It's petty and stupid. I know Carla is telling people Marnie's learned the real Jax and he's cut off all contact. It has nothing to do with Marnie and everything to do with differing opinion on racism. So, Tammy no longer wanted me part of the team because I believe Black Lives Matter. That's all. Snooze. Who's Corey Zipper? Some really dark, deep info. Do you know if he's contacted KZ? Snooze. Corey is somebody who lives in the Manitowoc area. I think he's reached out to KZ, but KZ's not been receptive to him. Laura, Tammy murdered someone. Well, she didn't physically do it herself. She and her husband were drug dealers, and this was somebody who they thought was snitching on them. So she ordered somebody else to kill him. And so that person shot the guy. And then Tammy and the other guy burned the body. And Tammy served 30 years in prison for it. So she's done her time. Debbie says support for Stephen and Brendan is global. Oh, it absolutely is. Lynn Johnson says I just posted. What did you post? What did I miss? What did I miss? Lynn, what did you post? I'm scrolling back in comments and I'm not thinking what it is that you just posted. that you guys are chatting about? Mm-mm-mm. So before I end this video and we start a new one for Brendan Calls, let me talk again about the rally. So the plan is I'm going to be there on Friday. So anybody who is coming early Friday, we can meet up, have dinner, hang out. Um, then on Saturday, we will be at Waupun. Oh, good morning, Madison in Australia. We'll meet at Waupun at 2. We'll be at Waupun from 2 to 4. People can either stand out front of the prison and hold your signs and chant and do whatever it is you want to do, or you can just decorate your car, write on your windows, tape signs to your cars, whatever you want to do, and drive around the prison and honk your horns and make some noise. You know, there's people that either they're not able to stand for a long period of time, and right now they're calling for, the last time I checked, it was a 40% chance of rain. Um, Lynn says photo mash of CB and a necklace and glasses found on ASY. Really? Wow, Lynn. Um, so if it rains and there's people who don't want to be out in the elements, or if it's too hot or whatever, you can just drive. Drive around. We do that a lot in Chicago, that we have these car caravans and honk your horns, and you know, it's one way of showing your support. And from there, we're going to drive to Oshkosh, and there's nowhere at Oshkosh that we can stand that's public property, that's legal for us to peacefully protest. And we're not going to make trouble, even though good trouble is a good thing. So we're not blocking streets. I don't want anybody being a nuisance to, like, in at Waupun, this is in a neighborhood, so don't be walking on people's yards or leaving garbage behind or any of that. Also, for the people who are going to be outside, we want to social distancing and wearing a mask, so bring a mask, or I'll be selling the rally masks that are $10 a mask. That money goes to Stephen. We want people to be as safe as possible. So, or if you're afraid of the possibility of guilters showing up and what guilters will do, since there's a guilter who likes to flash that he has a gun even though he's a felon, get it if you want to just stay in your cars. It's whatever you want to do and how you're comfortable. So, but we'll go to Oshkosh. We'll drive around Oshkosh for a bit and honk our horns. And then we'll head back to the hotel that's in Fond du Lac, the Radisson in Fond du Lac. And people will have like an hour of private time. Then we'll all meet for dinner. So you don't have to be staying at the hotel if you want to hang out with us and have dinner. And then after dinner, we'll be hanging out there and having... we'll just be hanging out, or it's got a bar, so if you want to drink, and we'll do Facebook Lives from there. Lynn, yeah, we don't want anybody on bail court. Sometimes good trouble is necessary. As an activist, I know sometimes, the squeaky wheel gets the grease. And then sometimes you look like an asshole. And so for Stephen and Brendan right now, when we're just showing our support, and you have so many people that think they're guilty, and you've got people who have such a negative opinion of anybody who would think of them as being that they're guilty, us, like, if blocking the road or just being idiots will hurt the cause for this event. So, I don't want you, like, bringing beer and standing out there and drinking beer. You know what I mean? Um, so, and I know we're going to get flack for this rally because I do not anticipate us having big numbers in attendance because we did organize this with not a whole lot of time, and it's during a global pandemic. So, but we're doing this for what supporters can make it. Yes, we will be doing a live during the rally. I have Facebook events that are made off of the Stephen Avery Project page, the public page. So all the events are there for, so you can click to say you're going to those. We'll be live 3 different times on Saturday. And now I got to sneeze, and it's not coming, and it's making my eyes water. So, yep, Brett, no beer. Good night, Debbie. So we will be live on the Stephen Avery Project public page from both rallies, and then we will be hearing gossip at night at the bar, because that's when we can gossip. So, is the rally stirring up a lot of reaction? I mean, thank you, Miley. I've gotten, I knew, like I said earlier in here, I knew I was going to take hits for it because I'm the squeaky wheel. But this rally is really more so Kim Ducat and Courtney Skinner's. So, I'm just facilitating it. This is their show. And Melissa, we're hoping there's no need for another rally because we're hoping Stephen's going to get released and be free. But if Wisconsin continues to suck, we will have a rally next Saturday. I was thinking we would just do it the last Saturday in July. That we would just make that our yearly thing. But like I said, we want him released, so we don't want to do another rally. Maybe I'll organize one here for Melissa Kaluzinski. Melissa's would be really tough, though, to do at her prison because Melissa's prison is in the middle of farmland. And you drive down an old dirt road, and there's a wildlife preserve that's on one side of it. And actually, there's a second prison that's right next to it. I don't think there's anything. I don't think we'd be able to be anywhere near her prison if I was to do one for Melissa. You absolutely could do a UK rally, Snooze. We said this early on, that if anybody wanted to host a sister rally, brother rally, whatever you want to call it, in other locations, it's all good. Tamika's asking, can you elaborate more on the haulback you have been talking to? I did that already on this video, and I don't want to drag this one out. I want to get to the calls. So you'll have to watch this video again, Tamika. I'm not trying to be an asshole. Mary asked, do you think they will be released in the next 5 years or before then? That's a heart or head question. My heart wants them out right now. Let them out in the next 2 seconds. My head says the system sucks and they're never going to let them out. Yeah, go ahead, fire away with your question. China says, I think I heard on one of Stephen's calls, can't find now, on YouTube that Stephen has a tape of something. Did I hear that right? And did he give it to KZ? That I don't know of. I know there's one theory that Steven has pictures that go along with the whole the club scenario. Um I've never heard anything like that in a call, but I know people have said they've heard something. So I don't know. But yeah, I've heard something about Steven possibly having pictures. Um oh, oh that's too bad, Amanda. Well, but you can watch our lives. A tape he has in a safe, he said. Huh, I don't know, China. Um would that also go along with the club? The whole club thing? That's what I would think. Okay, there's Tara saying, and an alleged videotape with the club. Yeah, I think that all goes to the club thing. And that's something maybe when we do live when we're with Kim and Courtney, because you need the locals to talk about the club. I don't know if Dave Bagaka will come to the rally. And then there's also, as you guys have brought up, Corey Zipper. Um, so we need them to talk about the club rabbit hole. Because that's difficult. That one's difficult for me to follow, not being from there and knowing all those different players in that theory. Um, but it's also not one. I'm still firmly on that it's Bobby. To me, that's what all the evidence points to. Talking with the Hallbach girl the other day has me thinking about Chuck. Um, oh, absolutely, China. Anything that Steven has, he would have told Kathleen, I believe. Um, but the club is something I've never really looked very deep into because it's just not where the evidence leads me. But it's not saying that where I am is the answer. It's just what it points to for me. As I've said, the only thing I am sure of is that Steven is innocent. So if it came out the club did it, not surprised by it. If it comes out that, Chuck did it, not surprised by it. Even George Zipperer. I made a pretty strong case for it being George Zipperer at one point. Ryan Hilgas. I mean, all that. If it's the cops, I can follow, all any of those. If that came to be, I'd be like, oh, okay. The only thing that I'm sure of is Steven is innocent. Right, Debbie, that Dave Bagaka says he saw Steven putting gas in 5-gallon gas cans. But doesn't Steven also, though, say he never left? Right? So that's also, Dave saying he saw Steven, but Steven saying he didn't leave. But that's not saying Steven didn't, because now remember again that um, Steven originally didn't know that if he had a fire that night or not. Because you have to remember, it's just any other night. Did you have a fire or not? And when you live in a place that you don't have garbage service and you're regularly burning stuff so you don't have to take it to the dump, did I have a fire that night? Did I not have a fire that night? He's not a guy that's living with children and stuff, so you're not thinking about what I did on Halloween. So I don't take that as Steven lying or trying to cover something up by not knowing at first if he had a fire on that night or not. Um, well, Pat, the Corey Zipper who's talking is no relation that to the zippers involved in Steven's case. It's a different zipper. So, but yeah, so Corey Zipper's been posting a lot here, and I know he's been posting, on all the different Making a Murderer groups and pages. But yeah, he's no connection through George or Jason Zipper that were involved in Teresa Halbach going to take a picture of Jason Zipper's car that day. But, that was a theory I had at some point, because now remember, George Zipper, the cops were afraid of him. They didn't want to go talk to him. And George Zipper said he wanted to file a complaint against Teresa Halbach for trespassing. And he said that if she had come on his property, his dog would eat her. So, and there's a smelter right by there. And I believe one of them works at a place that also had a smelter. I can't remember now because it's been a long time since I was on that path, the zipper path. And that I believe that zippers were supposed to be the second stop, but I believe she couldn't find their house and went to Avery Salvage and then went back to Zippers. So then that would put it as the Zippers were the last people to see her. So, like I said, I can, there's all these theories. You can find, does that make me any better than law enforcement? That you can try and find pieces that will match which narrative, which theory you want to go to. Oh, sorry. That's my friend asking me if I'm coming down to Chicago. No, I can't. Right, Carrie. All days run together in Tamika. Yeah, So I don't fault Steven for when he's being questioned on whatever day it was. I don't remember how long after. Well, they didn't report Teresa missing until Thursday, right? So was Saturday the first time? Well, no. Steven was in Crivets on Saturday. When's the first time that they talked to Steven after? So now the girl's, she's been missing allegedly since Monday. But her family and her roommate, nobody notices anything. It's Tom Pierce, her boss. Wait. I have to warn her. 10. Be careful. Remember, you're not white. Sorry. So my friend is going to the protesting that I was supposed to speak at in Chicago, and she's not a white person. So that's, I need to remind her, be careful. You're not white. Lynn, there is a big parking lot across the road from Zippers and near the location of the turnaround and Cynic's gas station. Yeah, it's a mega church that's across the street from Zippers, because one of my trips up to Manitowoc, I went to the Zippers house and took a picture of it, and we pulled into the church to pull around, and so then when you're in the driveway of the church, the house is directly across from that street. So she says, my friend says, LOL, fuck, I always forget. Was thinking a good blonde wig would be a great tool. Cat, only reason she knows it's Monday is because her alarm goes off on her phone 5 a.m. Monday through Friday. Yeah, but then Monday through Friday all run together. So would you know for sure if somebody asked you the following week if you had, you know, whatever, you know, I don't remember what I did 2 hours ago. you know? So I can never fault Steven for not knowing if he had a fire that day or not. Oh my God, Mark. I hope you're all right. Well, yeah, it would have to be November because October 31st, Carrie, is when the alleged crime happened. So, and Stephen went to Crivets that following weekend, which is another thing that I always go, oh, so, all right, you put you leave Teresa's vehicle on your own property facing an opposite direction, sticking out, putting things on it that make it stick out even more. They want to claim that he just had to wait until he had a more private time to crush the car, put the car in car crusher. So, okay, well, the whole family is going to go to Crivets. That would be a good time to do that, right? No, he goes to Crivets when you've got evidence here, there, and everywhere, allegedly. Lynn says that's where Colburn pulled into prior to meeting up with other law enforcement to see zippers, and was also around the same time he called in the plates. Dun dun dun. You can go into the videos here in Gossip. I've done lives before, and where one of the lives we drove from the salvage yard to the zippers, and from Cuss Road to the zippers, I believe. So you can see how long that takes. I don't remember offhand how long it takes to go one to the other. Or maybe it's something we do Friday. Get up to Fond du Lac early and go drive to Manitowoc and go see the sights. You never know. You never know what I'm going to do or where I'm going to be. Absolutely, Brett. He was looking at that car. You don't remember the plates on a car, Sam, William, Henry, or whatever it was, and then the 3 digits. You don't. And he had been at the Senex station where he bumped into that guy who said, I saw this car down there. The car that's on the window here, that car is down there by the dam. That's where he went. And when he got there, then he called in those plates. Rav's tires were caked with gravel pit dirt. They can say all they want. You absolutely could drive through the gravel pit into the salvage yard. And all the Avery kids had parties back in that salvage yard. And people knew to come through the back way, and nobody from the residences would see them. Yeah, there's the truck driver who was, yeah, saw Teresa leave. Mm-hmm. King Kratz DNA on it. Um, Steven's innocent. There's just Steven's innocent. And we're going to have a rally at Waupun this Saturday, 2 to 4 p.m. Central Time. So Central Time right now, it is 4:21 p.m. So at this time on Saturday, we will be driving from Waupun to Oshkosh. Jumbo Creek is the road on the other side of the salvage yard. So you've got the Route 47 that they're on, and then there's Jumbo Creek that you would turn into the gravel pit, right? Or quarry from Jumbo Creek Road. And you can also take that Jumbo Creek Road to the zippers. But you could also take then the street that, so you've got the street here, the 147 or whatever it is that the salvage yard's on. Jumbo Creek is going this way here, that you can see the salvage yard, and then you see the quarry. And then I can't remember what this street's called on the other side, and that's what you're taking to go to Cuss Road. Because you'll take that and then Cuss Road this way. And then and that's the driveway to the deer camp at the dead end at Cuss Road. Carrie said hi twice. Hi. Yeah, Tara, the sheriff's department. And I need people to always remember, Manitowoc Police Department are not the bad ones in this. They didn't, sheriff's department and a police department are two different entities. And when I dealt with the Manitowoc Police Department, when I was organizing the first June rally, the Manitowoc police were lovely. The Manitowoc Sheriff's Department is the one that wanted to charge me like $2,000, or whatever that number was. But the police department were lovely to deal with. Same thing with the Waupun Police Department that I called. That I have to call this week and give him an update on our numbers. He was perfectly lovely, the Waupun police supervisor. So, law enforcement. Some are good, some are bad. Good lawyers, bad lawyers. Bad judges, good judges. So we can't just paint everything with the same brush. You got to take everything with, let people show you who they are. Don't just go, you're a cop, so you're bad. You're a deputy, so you're bad. Now, I should get off my soapbox on that. Let's end this. We've been on for over an hour now, and start some Brendan calls. This may be the only day I'm able to do calls this week. I'm not sure. Maybe I can do Wednesday, but I don't know. I've just got too much crap going on. So, all right. End this. Find me on the new one for the Brendan calls.